Hi, hi. All right. Um, Good morning, everyone. My name is Yi Hong from Suntar, and it's a pleasure to be here in Bangkok today. Today, I'll be sharing about a topic uh, that really nobody thinks about putting on the mission critical path until it's almost too late. So, this is something we think it's really important for data centers that very little people talk about. It's not power, it's going to be about water and how, with our graphene membrane technology, we can help you guys plan and solve the water problem. So, um, so I'll start with a question, and it's: do you have sufficient water supply for your data centers? Now, a lot of us are able to answer the question for power very quickly, very easily, because that's what we all think about. And rightfully so. Power is a very, very critical problem. But increasingly so, water is becoming a mission critical problem because it relates to cooling. And if your water supply is disrupted, or if you're not able to get enough water supply, your data center buildouts may be severely delayed. And that's what we have seen. So this is the math. For the data center buildouts that are coming online for the next couple of years in the Southeast Asia region, in the number of a couple of hundred megawatts, you'll find that a 300 megawatt AI data campus can use as much as 16 MLD of water. That's enough water for a city of 100,000 people. And that's and I think that's where it gets like pretty crazy, right? And that's because in our tropical climate, water usage effectiveness is around 2.2 liter per kilowatt hour right now. And with all the data center buildouts that are coming online, data centers are going to be the biggest industrial water users in the region. And this is already happening very near to us in Johor in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, 3 states have a total demand being applied for of about 800 MLD of water that's needed for just only for data centers. And the current water infrastructure of those 3 states is only able to supply no more than 150 MLD. That's a 6 times difference just for data centers, right? And what happens is now, because of all these data center applications, they have now an 18 months moratorium on water-cooled data centers. So people are either forced to go air-cooled, which is not very energy efficient, or they are forced to use alternative sources of water, such as sewage, seawater, even surface water, right? And it also has led to an increase in water tariff, right? Meaning that even if you're still able to get water from the tap, it's going to be much more expensive, right? It used to be no more than 2 ringgit in Malaysia. Now, for all data centers, only for the data center industry, it is now more than 5 ringgit. So Thailand doesn't exactly have that problem just yet, but it's not far off. Johor is actually not a water-stressed region, right? There's many riverways. It's actually not very population dense. There's actually enough water. It's just that the water infrastructure is not built fast enough. But for Thailand, especially where the data centers are being built in the EEC, it is a very water-stressed region, right? We know because we do water projects around the region, and because of climate change, what's happening this year is that we would expect the dry season to run for a little bit longer, but then that would have compounding impact on dam levels and therefore on water supply, meaning that if there is a water shortage and there needs to be a scapegoat and someone needs to be blamed, could be the data centers, right? We see that already happening like in many other countries, right? Water is a very, very sensitive issue for communities, right? You don't want to live in a place where there's like not enough water to drink because some data center people are coming in and like taking up all the water, right? That's where like people come in and protest, right? We see that there's a lot of those incidents in many other countries. Um, you know, uh, we think that there is a risk that needs to be planned for, because water is such a emotional issue for people. And we have solved that problem for a client in Johor, right? So one of our clients in Johor, they were not able to get potable water. They had already put down commitment for their water chillers, and they were planning to come online in 8 months' time when they first talked to us. And they had no water because the government said, no more water for you. So we designed and built a 20 MLD water reclamation plant for them. We took sewage from the nearby municipal water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, and then with our membrane technology, with our graphene membrane technology, we treated it. And then with the reverse osmosis technology, we recovered the water, more than 80% of it, and then into high purity makeup water for their cooling towers, right? And all that was delivered within the span of 8 months where they engaged us. So, and that system is highly flexible, able to accommodate different sources, whether it's like surface water, groundwater, sewage water, rainwater. And, with the tariff rates in Johor coming up to 533, it's actually quite competitive in terms of capex and opex, right? They're gonna get like an ROI within like less than 5 years. Not bad, And the very positive externalities of that project, because they were the first water recycling plant for data centers in Malaysia and probably in the region as well. The Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia visited. He's also the Minister for Water Transformation. So you can really see like this is possibly like where the industry is headed to, right? And then, of course, visits by the federal agencies, different interested parties. So I think a very, very positive outcome for our client there, right? This is another system in Malaysia, right? You can see like the water coming out of it, right? Of course, we use it for cooling towers, but possibly safe to drink. Not everyone will drink it, but I don't encourage it. But if you ever visit one of our plants, we assure you it will be safe to drink. So you can see over here that this is the screen sewage coming in. After the MBR, it's almost clear, and after the RO, it's drinkable, right? Not very healthy, but drinkable. Again, very positive press generated like by many media outlets. Our clients even got an award for it, right? I think that's really something like because there are at the same time there are other DC operators. They are getting a lot of like negative press. People, the community is not happy with them, but our client got very, very positive feedback because of this water recycling plant, and they generated many like positive like press because of this plant, right? So I think this is something really that we can think about. So how does Suntar actually do it? So our solution sits, at the supply side to the cooling towers, meaning that. So I think on the cooling tower sides, people will be very, very familiar. The cooling tower goes to like the HVAC to help you cool, to do the building like cooling for your data centers, right? Where we are is that we do the makeup water supply, right? Used to be when data centers don't need that much water, you could just take tap water and you'll be okay. But now that they're using so much water, you really need to think about alternative sources. Like what we did for our client with our wastewater. We can also, with membrane technology, we can also do desalination. We can do like surface water. And in certain cases, because of the requirements of the cooling towers, even tap water might need to be further treated for it to run efficiently, right? Because you don't want the cooling tower to be scaling. So that was the primary loop. On the secondary loop, what we do is provide like a system to do like makeup water supply for the liquid cooling. So this is not a big system, but the requirements A little bit different because it requires super pure water because it's for water that goes direct to chip, right? So we've delivered some of these systems. You see like some of the containerized systems that we've delivered for our clients. Actually, we've done it here in Bangkok and well, not in Bangkok, in Chonburi, and we've done it in Johor as well for liquid cooling for one of our clients. So what is it? So what are actually the membranes trying to the problems the membranes are trying to solve? So on the primary loop, it's going to be hardness and scaling, ionic contamination, biological fouling. And on the secondary loop, then it's going to be the threats to like cold plate blockage, corrosion and degradation, and microbial growth, right? So this is so our membrane technology makes sure that these things are kept out of our system, and the water, and make sure that the chillers and the liquid cooling is running efficiently. And Suntar, so at Suntar, we deliver like a full stack engagement model. So we realized because this is not a problem that a lot of data center clients think about, so we help them think about it, right? Although we are primarily a technology company supplying membrane technology, but because we have worked on so many projects over the years, and in the particular case of data centers, we will start all the way from the feasibility study and the engagement with the authorities, right? Managing submissions to the different authorities and navigating like agency data center water reviews, right? Then we could design the plan for you, so that's our bread and butter. We will fabricate the systems for you. We would with our partners, local partners, we'll deliver the actual plans for you. And if needed, we can provide like O&M services for the long term. And when you actually have zero water, right, when the water source is cut off, we are able to provide emergency water supply services, which is what we have done for one of our clients here in Thailand as well. So because we've worked with so many data centers over the past, I guess it has not been that long, over the past 2 years, we realized that data centers, they're big, but all the build-outs are in phases, right? So our water plants for data centers are phased by design and modular in terms of the phases. So it's designed to be N+1 from day one, so that you get that redundancy requirement to get you that tiering to get you to the tier 3 that you want. And at the same time, you can add it in phases while sharing the same common electrical and control systems, so that you can add it quickly when you need it, but only when you need it, right? There doesn't need to be an overinvestment of capex at the front, right? Because so the water plant is able to scale at the same time that your data centers are building out, right? Without having to go through the whole design and engineering all over again, right? So this is something that we think that is very unique to the data center industry, because when the data centers need it, they need it fast, right? But at the same time, they don't want to pre-build because they don't want to front load the capex. And if you really need it very urgently, right? If you cannot wait like 6 months, then this is a modular solution. It's useful for smaller water loads, especially liquid cooling or cooling tower blowdown. It's a containerized solution. Everything is prefabricated in our production facilities and factory tested before it's sent out. So it's something that's very, very quick to deploy, almost plug and play, I would say. Right? You just need to get the power, get the piping, like external piping in, and then like install the membranes on site, and then you're good to go. So finally, like a last product showcase, I promise. This is our graphene membrane, right? So this is one of our core technologies. We work with many other membranes as well, but this is the core technology for the data centers. So the graphene membranes is a membrane that came out of our labs. I think a little bit. I think somewhat less. I guess 7 or 8 years ago. So we combine graphene material with PVDF, right, to form a new material to be used in MBR that has a better anti-pollutant property that also gives it a higher flux because of its hydrophilic properties, and has better mechanical strength, right? So the addition of the graphene really gave this PVDF MBR like something special, right? And you can see it from the numbers that we run, right? So primarily the graphene MBR is meant to reduce the COD in the water in sewage. So you can see that in some of the studies that we've run, the incoming sewage from older municipal sewage plants can be, or from like raw sewage, right, can really fluctuate, right? Going sometimes even higher than a COD of 500. But you can see that the output where we have, it's very, very stable, right? We even though the COD gets up to more than 500, we can get it down to a very stable like 20 to 40 like here, right? So this is the step right before the RO. It ensures the longevity of your RO membranes, which keeps the cost down, right? So this is really at the core of what we provide to the data centers. So finally, so who is Suntar? Suntar is a membrane technology company. We were founded in Singapore all the way back in 1996. This year is our 30th year, and we were initially listed on the SGX Singapore Stock Exchange about 2003, so more than 20 years ago. Now we are listed on the Shanghai Stock Exchange. So we have deployed more than 400 water treatment plants with a total capacity of 4 million cubic meters a day over the years. And at the same time, we also own and operate 27 water treatment plants, wastewater treatment plants that we have invested in, right? So we don't just deliver the solution, we are also operators, so we understand the problems that might come out in the long term. All our systems are done in our 4 production facilities across China. We have offices in Singapore, in Bangkok, in the rest of in Ho Chi Minh, in Jakarta, in KL, in Johor, in India, and in the Middle East, right? So some of the data center track records that we have, so you'll see full phase water treatment plants, liquid cooling, emergency water supply, design and consulting services. We even test the incoming water for clients because we realize people are looking for a full stack solution. So finally, I'll leave you with this. I think coming from a membrane technology, a water treatment technology company, the world is not short of water, right? I know at the beginning of the presentation, I said that Thailand, especially the EEC, is a very, very water-stressed region. But really, the world is not short of water because with technology, with membrane technology, we can turn any alternative water source, sewage, seawater, right, into a water that is ready for data centers, for their cooling towers, right? We're actually right at the back, so we have a booth today right at the back. Please visit us. That QR code is my LinkedIn, so please connect with me. My name is Yi-Hong, so from Singapore, Suntar. Thank you.
ขอเสียงปรบมือค่ะ thank you very much ขอบคุณนะคะดร.ลัน อีฮงนะคะ Director Suntar International Group นะคะซึ่งจะมีบูธอยู่ด้านหลังนะคะเผื่อท่านใดที่สนใจหลังจากนี้